class, here is our last two books for Tuesday. This one is Press Here. Remember, we're supposed to look at, oh, I gotta remember which way I go here. We're supposed to look at the pictures. So, it says, ready, press here, and turn the page. Great. Now, press the yellow dot again. Perfect. Rub the dot on the left gently. Well done. And now the one on the right gently. Fabulous. 5 quick taps on the yellow and 5 taps on the red. And finally, 5 taps on the blue. Perfect. Try shaking the book just a little bit. Not bad, but maybe a little bit harder. There, well done. Now, tilt the page on to the left, just to see what happens. I think about which would be left when I was reading it. And then to the right a little more. Excellent. Shake the book one more time just to get everything back in order. Interesting. Try pressing down really hard on all the yellow dots. And I'm 1 finger short, so you'll have to pretend like that one's being pushed. That's funny. Turn the lights back on. Try pressing them all again. Maybe I can get them. Oh, there. Perfect. Hold on. 2 of those dots seem to have switched places, but which ones? Now press hard on all the dots. Really hard. I don't know which ones switched places. I have no idea. Anyway. Not bad. Shake them up a little bit. Pretty, isn't it? Try blowing on them to get rid of the black. Maybe a bit harder? Oops, that might have been a little too hard. Stand the book up straight to make those dots drop back down again. There you go. That's perfect. Now clap your hands once. Whoa! Clap twice. 3 times. More. Woohoo! Keep clapping. More. More. Uh-oh. Too loud. Quick. Press the white dot. Bravo! Want to do it all over again? Back to the beginning, this way. And then you start all over. I think kids would love reading that one. All right, this one is Queen Victoria's bathing machine. I don't know. Queen Victoria looked out at the sea. It was blue, it was cool, it was nice as could be. The day was so hot, the sun was so bright. Her petticoats itched and her corset was tight. She whispered a wish, it was only a whim. How grand it would be to go for a swim. Her lady-in-waiting collapsed on the floor. I've never heard such nonsense before. Impossible, she cried. It would be a disgrace to see more of the Queen than her hands and her face. How would she get from the beach to the water without showing more of herself than she oughta? The Queen sighed a sigh. I'll give up the notion. I'll never be allowed to enter the ocean. For how can I swim if I wear all my clothes, my petticoats and dresses, my shoes and my hose? They'd get drippy and slushy and soggy and sodden, and down I would sink, right down to the bottom. My dear, said Prince Albert, if it is your wish to dabble and splatter and swim like a fish, there must be a way to transport you with ease, while keeping the populace from glimpsing your knees. I'll give all my genius and all my attention to devise a device to invent an invention. Albert was learned, Albert was bright. Albert was nearly always right. He'd been everywhere from Denmark to Munich. He'd studied old wars, both Spartan and Punic. His knowledge of battles no one could fault. He'd read dozens of books on the catapult. It hurled heavy rocks into the air, chucking them easily from here to there. Victoria, dear, it might be romantic to be launched from your window into the Atlantic, moving so quickly you never would show as much as a peak of your royal toe. So a catapult was the first choice. But Albert the English, you know how they shoot partridge and pheasants, mergansers and coot, whatever is up in the air they bring down, and roast it and toast it to a crispy brown, to have for their breakfast, to have with their tea. I'm sure you don't wish that to happen to me. Just after midnight, Albert sprang from the bed. A brilliant idea had come into his head. Wake up, dear Victoria. Your worries are over. You can swim all the way from Osborne to Dover. They waltzed and they mazurkade. They danced a polka or two. They collapsed on their bed with their nightcaps askew. You boy. First thing in the morning, Albert got busy. His imperial demands made everyone dizzy. I must have some wood. Quick, cut down a tree. Dig up some stones and send them to me. Give me a wheelwright. Give me a mason. Victoria's splashing shan't be confined to a basin. Here's the next picture. Albert sawed lumber, he pounded some nails, he ordered 4 wheels, he laid down stone rails, he constructed a room with nary a frown, he fashioned a porch with steps to climb down. Well, all was completed, it was lit for a queen. Victoria, I've made you a bathing machine. Let me tell you, my dear, what I propose. You enter the back door wearing all of your clothes. Off comes your dress, off come your rings, off come all those unmentionable things. You put on your suit as quick as can be, and the bathing machine will roll into sea. Once out on the porch, the curtain will hide you, while your lady-in-waiting hovers beside you. You climbed on the steps in perfect repose, into the ocean right up to your nose. No one will get so much as a peep, except for the creatures down in the deep. You're a genius, dear Albert. I'm truly excited. We'll all have the workmen feted and knighted. She entered the bathing machine by the door. Off came her corset, 10 petticoats, and more. The windows were shuttered from prying spies, and her lady-in-waiting covered her eyes. Goodbye to the land, goodbye to the turf. Victoria rode the waves and dove into the surf. Dog paddle, butterfly, side stroke, and crawl. The buoyant Victoria tempted them all. She plunged and she pitched, she rolled and she wallowed, with water all around her, some of it swallowed. To sailors On a frigate we're having a tiff. One said a flatboat, one said a skiff. It might be a schooner that has hoisted a sail. If it gets closer, we'll give it a hail. It's taking the shape of a soup tureen. Belay in a vast, I believe it's our queen. Victoria, unaware of her subject's surprise, carried on with her watery exercise. Tuna and turtles and salmon and flounder tickled her toes and swam all around her. With a splash and a skitter and a final rinse, the grateful Victoria returned to her prince. And then there's an author's note. It says Victoria became Queen of England in 1857 at the age of 18. She didn't like Buckingham Palace, too stuffy. She liked Balmoral Castle in Scotland and Osborne House in the Isle of Wight, informal residence where she could relax and enjoy the out of doors. She loved to sketch and paint and was quite good at it. Her children were among her favorite subjects. She also enjoyed pressing flowers for from her ceremonial bouquets. On February 10th in 1840, she married Prince Albert, whom she thought very handsome and wise and whom she dearly loved. Together they had 9 children and 42 grandchildren. The children loved to dress up in costumes and put on plays for their parents. It was Prince Albert who designed Osborne House and supervised its building, making sure to follow Victoria's wishes for a residence that was cheerful and unpalace-like. The Isle of Wight, Osborne's setting, is in the English Channel and is England's largest island. It has a mild climate and stunning views of the sea from its cliffs. Prince Albert believed that sea bathing was healthy and encouraged Victoria to swim. The bathing machine was installed at Osborne House in 1846. In her journal, Victoria describes driving to the beach with her maids and entering her bathing machine, where she undressed before entering the sea. She wrote on July 30th, 1847, I thought it delightful till I put my head under water when I thought I should be stifled. Beginning in 1832, when Victoria was 13, she kept a journal filling 122 volumes with 43,000 pages of descriptions of her children, her husband, court gossip, and the prime ministers with whom she met. The present Queen, Elizabeth II, has placed the complete journals online. It's great fun to dip in and out of her life and find what she is thinking. Victoria describes at length her love for her husband, Albert, writing, He clasped me in his arms, and we kissed each other again and again. Despite several frightening assassination attempts, Queen Victoria reigned for 63 years, longer than any other British monarch. She died at Osborne House at the age of 81. After her death, the bathing machine was used for a time as a chicken coop. It has now been restored and may be seen by all who visit Osborne House. And here is a picture of it. That's it. Bye.